Morning guys, how you going? We're just going to go for a... Sun's a mile, is it? We're going to go for a ride this morning, and I'll just quickly show you what we're taking. I've got Lucas, my son, with me today, and a mate of mine, Pete. So we'll have 3 bikes out, and Pete's going to do a bit of filming and stuff for me because he's good at it. Right, so I'll just show you what we're taking this morning. So we've got the CB400, which is just finished doing the silo tour with me and Trish. So bring her out. We've got the Z1000 Kawasaki, which is also was on that trip we did. And then my big girl, the GTR1400. Now you might say, oh, why didn't you take that? But I think I explained on the trip that Trish owns both of these 2 bikes, and this one here she hasn't done a lot of work on. So that trip we just did was 1, to have a nice little trip, but 2, to get her used to riding this bike, which she has. She reckons it's, you know, she's enjoying riding it now. So yeah, so they're the 3 girls we're taking out this morning. We're just waiting on Pete to come back. He came over earlier and he was going to get his gear on, and then we'll head off and we'll get a little bit of stuff, a bit of footage and stuff for you as we're burning around. Alright, see you later. Alright guys, well, we're just about to head off. So normal practice, we have the boring bit to get through, and then later on when it gets a bit more exciting, we'll turn it back on and give you a bit of a look at what we're doing. We've got the drone again today, so hopefully we'll get that out and have a bit of a whiz around. Alright, so we will catch you a bit later. Hey guys, I'll just tell you a couple of little points of interest. So this motorcycle that Lucas is on today, which is Trish's, it's we just got back from our trip, and if you ever have a look at some of the video footage from that, you'll see that this bike was dressed up a lot different, and that's the thing I like about this bike. Right now it's in its basically full sport mode. No panniers, it's only got a single seat, which I can show you up here. I think you can see that. It only has a cover now. So it's one of those motorbikes that it's sort of a Jekyll and Hyde. It can really do itself up as a tourer, or you can take all the gear off, change the electronic package in it. So Lucas has got it on the least intrusive for ABS and gyros, and he's got full power switched on. So, and I guess that's the reason why I reckon it's such a good motorcycle, because everyone says you can't have one motorcycle that does every job you want, and that's true. I absolutely agree with that. But at least this one gives you the two different sort of styles in which you would normally ride. You would probably mostly ride it. Sorry, it's a bit bumpy here. You'd probably mostly ride it as a touring bike, as a sports bike, sports touring. But when you want to go away with it, you can put all your gear on and off you go as a touring bike. And people do look at it as a touring bike. You take all the gear off and they go, oh no, that's a sports bike. So I guess that's why we got this particular bike. It's just a really nice motorcycle to ride too. And one of the benefits for us is that Trish doesn't have real long legs. So when she's riding this bike, she can still touch the ground. Where a lot of other bikes, which we would have looked at, they're only like another 20 mil higher, and it makes a huge difference. I've always been one of those people that go, I don't go 5 mil, go 20 or, you know, whatever, on different things. You know, going to wind up your suspension or whatever the case may be. But I am finding now that over the years that things like that, 20 mil difference is a huge difference, not just a little bit. So it's 2 centimetres. So yeah. So anyway, that was the reason why, one of the big reasons why we chose this motorcycle, because she could sit on it and put her feet on the ground, which, you know, makes sense, doesn't it? if you can't touch the ground, you shouldn't really be riding it. When as soon as you stop, you're in strife. So yeah, but other than that, it's just a really nice motorcycle. I mean, I've ridden it, you know, quite a few times, and I think I did day 1 and half of day 2 on our trip, so I probably did 500 k's on it. And then once Trish got back into rhythm, I handed it over to her. She spent basically the rest of the trip on it, and yeah, she said when she got back, she takes her a while to get into a bike. She has to form an attachment to it, and people that, you know, ride a lot, they'll understand what I mean. You have to feel like the bike wants to look after you, which was the other reason why we chose this bike, because it will look after you with all its electronics that it's got. I'm just making sure Lucas knows we're turning. Doesn't look like he does. That's okay, we can keep going. We'll go up to Emerald and go that way instead. So yeah, so that's sort of a round out why we chose that type of bike for her. It's got like oodles of power. I mean, there's not much on the street. You know, you get into your RR stuff, yeah, sure, but on the street, it's as tough as anything out there. As a like sports bike or sports tourer. So yeah. Well, alright guys, I'll switch off and we'll get back when there's a bit more going on. Okay guys, we're just coming into Healesville, which is one of our little rides that we often do. It's a good little ride in, lots of windy stuff. Today we're going to go a bit further. We're going to go up to Lake Mountain, sorry, which is just the other side of Marysville. It's about 15 minutes out. And then you take the turn off, and the climb up to the top of the mountain is only about 10 minutes. But as you can imagine, it's a snow, you know, people go there for the snow, so it's quite windy up. But this time of year there'll be no one there, and the roads will be really quiet, so it's quite nice. You can just cruise along, not worrying about too many tourists, because they don't go there for the... Well, there is a good view when you get up there though, but anyway, you don't get many people up there this time of year, and that's why we go. So I can keep it running through the town, and we'll show when we pull up. We go to a Beechworth Bakery, which again is one of our normal spots we go to, and they make a nice coffee, and pick whatever you want. I haven't had breakfast yet, so it might be a good time to have a little something. And quite full, the town, which it usually is on the weekend, but there'll be a lot of my visor up's getting a bit warm. Whoop, we'll make that. You don't trust them here, they walk across right in front of you. We're better off to do is stopping. Yeah, as I was saying, it's quite touristy, and the good thing about the bakery is it's at the other end of town, so if you don't know this place at all and you wander into this town, you'll probably look for a cafe before you'd even get to the bakery. So you see a lot of, actual tourists that stop before they get to the bakery if they haven't researched it and know that it's there. But surprisingly, it's not that smoky up here, which is, I mean, it's much more smoky at home in Frankston. There's a little bit, you can see up there probably, there's a little bit of smoke, but nowhere near as much as what we've got at home. So, like I always say, good town's always got a river running through it. It's only a little one here, but there is a river under there somewhere. Here we are now, Beechworth Bakery. There's usually a few bikes, and it looks like there is again today. A few coming out, a few going in. See if I can get one under the tree. Nice shady spot. Yep. Oh, there's a blackbird, one of my faves. And there we go. It's actually very similar to mine. I believe it's got the same exhaust on it. Alright guys, well we'll go and have a coffee and we'll see you a bit later. Hey guys, so we're in the bakery. Just having a nice cup of coffee. And see, I've got Lucas with me today, and I've got Pete with me. So it's actually a really nice, it's been really nice, not too hot. You know, like it's supposed to get up around 29 or 30 today. But and the smoke, I'm surprised, it's not as much smoke, nowhere near. So there you go. So alright then, we'll finish our coffee, and I'll see you on the road. Okay, back at the bikes, and shooting back up for the run to Marysville and then Lake Mountain. There's not a lot at Lake Mountain. There's just a it's a big kiosk, one of those. I think there's two buildings there now. Last time we were up there, they were building like the second one. So that's all good. All right. Make sure my lid's down. Yep. Occasionally I leave it and you go down the road and it doesn't really do much. It's pretty good, but it can bounce up and down a bit. Here you go.
Make it look like a mini bike, mate.
Yeah, that's the idea, isn't it? That's the idea.
You loving it?
Yeah, I've had this since new. And yeah, it's a really good cruiser, but you can have a bit of a play with it. Yeah. So, no, I really like it. It's got plenty of power. Okie doke. The thing about having three guys with you, or two guys with you, three of you, is that you always need to make sure that you've got enough room for the three of us to get out. Or you know, you keep splitting up your group. I believe this bike is 304 kilos tanked up, which makes it a big heavyweight, one of the titans as far as weight goes. I'm sure some of the Harleys that outdo it easy. And probably a Honda Goldwing, be heavier, a lot heavier. What a beautiful curvy road. I know sometimes when I've been, there's a young blokes getting on it a bit. Sometimes when I play back the videos, it looks like I'm way over the white line, but my body might be over it a bit, but I don't allow the bike to go over it. So it's just a bit of an illusion when you put it back on camera, when you put it back on the screen, you know, the computer or whatever it is you're watching it on. What I might do is get Lucas to come up front. Where's Pete? We'll get him up here as well. There you go, that's not bad effort. Squeezed around me on the turn. Okay, so now we're out of Marysville. I'm going to turn my controller off. This is a lovely road to come up. I've done this a few times. It's all open, 100 k's, but it can catch you out if you're not used to it, because even though it's 100, there's like that one, that's an off-cambered left we're in. So you need to have your wits on about you, when you're doing this road. It's one of those roads that you can stick to the speed limit, but actually push yourself. This is quite a big left. Just got to be careful of the push bike riders. Look at that for a left. That went forever. I don't know if you can see, but I'm only doing between 80 and 90 k's through there. So not very fast. 95 through the S here. Roll off a little bit because you can't see what's coming through the corner. Slowly squeeze it back on. So that's 100 now, or just under 100. So it's quite fast through here. Down one. That's on the speed limit now. So to pick the right road, you can stay within the law and really have a good time. I rolled off a bit then. I know this opens out a little bit, and I'm not racing, I'm just enjoying the ride. There's 95, 98, just touching 100 now. Beautiful. That's why I say it's one of the best roads, certainly in Victoria, that I've been on. You can get that little bit of thrill, exhilaration, and you're not breaking any rules. It's fantastic. See, off-cambered left again. And it double tightens on you just here with a bit of rough patch on the ground. That was a 90 through there, and that's comfortable, but I wouldn't want to be going too much more unless I was on a full sports bike with all the right suspension. I know this is a bit of a tidy. I'll go down a gear here, then roll it back on. just maintaining a one speed. See the double corner there? Bit rough on the entry. Off cambered again. And squeeze it on for the straight bit. Roll it off slightly, keep within the speed limit. Double S's through here. I'll pick a higher gear. Down 1, down 2. And squeeze on the way out. Mid stick it through here. Just holding that rev. Off a little bit, then squeeze back on. Off again, get your apex, back on the throttle slightly. And you just continue doing that and keep it nice and smooth. So roll off just a tiny bit there, squeeze it on a little bit, roll it off a little bit, apex squeeze on. This is a double, so you'll be alright. Start to come off a little bit, and then when you see where your gap, back on it again. I'm doing all that between 80 and 100. This one I know tightens up a bit, so I'll brake into it, off the brakes, squeeze on, hold and maintain just a smooth throttle through there, and squeeze it back on out of the turn. So Pete in front of me, he normally rides a T-Rex 650. It's a Yamaha, and he's been waiting on some carburetor bits for it. A lot of, I think he said there's like plastic parts in there, and then, you know, over the years they need changing out. So he's ordered those. Yeah, and I was just around his place yesterday helping him flip a fish tank. He's got a great big fish tank, and he's been cleaning it out. He just gave me a call and said could have given him a hand just to flip it over, because it's about 5 foot long. And I had already organised, Lucas had rang me and said, are we going to go for a ride? So I'd already organised to go for a ride, and I said to him, do you want to come along? I said, oh, I'd love to, but my bike's down because I'm waiting for that part. I said, no, that's fine. We'll pull another bike out for you. So that's what we did. So it's nice having, because he's one of my neighbours, so it's nice having neighbours with the same interest and stuff like that. He doesn't have a whinge if I'm out in the shed and having to rev up a bike every now and then for a while. Usually he comes over and sees what I'm doing. He says, oh, I heard the bike, thought I'd come over and see what's going on. So that's, you know, that's the sort of neighbours you want, isn't it? So what we're going up here is what they call the Black Spur. Everyone raves about the Black Spur, but I mean, it's a nice little road to go on, but there's a lot better twisty roads than this one, and it's fairly heavily policed, this road, which is fair enough because there's probably been dozens of accidents over the years, bikers spearing off here and there. But and it's one of those places where it seems to be, you get your learners and you go straight to the Black Spur and see how fast you can go around corners, which is the dumbest thing you can do. And if it does, because it is a rainforest, as you can see, and if it does at any time have a little sprinkle, it just turns into a slick patch, this road. It's very slippery. So it's not really a learner's playground. There's a lot better places you can go than this road. But it is a very pretty road, and look at these trees. They're just gorgeous trees. They're all dead straight. You get up into the high country and all the trees are bent over. There's a reason for it, I can't remember exactly why. But yeah, up here they're dead straight. You can understand why they logged them and used them for things like telephone poles and stuff. Is that torque coming in? 5th gear? I always like to sit, but when I'm sitting behind people, I always like to watch their lines in and out of corners. And because we are, I actually just went over the line then, would you believe? Because we are all just, we're just cruising, enjoying our little ride, it can sometimes knock you off your line that you would normally take, because if you're going a little bit quicker, because the bike will usually dip in a bit harder, or a bit more than what it would do if you're going a bit faster. And different bikes, if you're on a different bike than you're used to, they work a bit different. See, Pete's pretty consistent. He's staying pretty much in the middle of the road, which today is perfect, so it's not going to be slippery. And you'll probably find that because he's got Lucas in front of him, he'll run his sort of line a bit. We all do it. And what it does is that if you look at the concentration level and you're running at 100% concentration, if you start following somebody, that concentration level, or that workload, will drop down to say 70%. It's probably not, you know, what I would try and teach anybody. Well, I certainly don't. But for an experienced person can react, you know, if they're behind someone and all of a sudden they need to take evasive action, well then they can, because they've got that experience. So running at about 70% and just following, I can see he's following Lucas's line. Couple of Harleys. There's water on the road, see? And that's what I mean. You come up here, you get a learner jump on that stuff. They see it, panic, hit the skids, and it's all over before they know it. They've usually dropped the front end of it. Let's go. You can see that the boys are just drying off their whole tyre again. So I'll do the same, because why not? So now they know that they've got a dry tyre again to work with. And just back there, I don't know if you saw the light change. It's actually gravel. Here it is here. There's gravel there in the middle of the road. Yeah, I like that bluestone stuff. So they're just little things that you got to watch out for. sometimes those, I don't know how to describe that, they're like a sharp turn with a dip in the middle. I've always found the best way to go in and out of those is once you get into the middle of it, it's just to throttle up. It wants to slightly stand the bike up, which is good on the exit. But yeah, it's sort of like a sharp turn with a dip in the middle. The other thing too for learners, if you're coming up to this sort of stuff, don't try and do hundreds of kilometres of this, because it will tire you out, severely tire you out. You don't realise it, but it's quite physical. If you're doing it properly, it's quite physical. And funny enough, the first thing to go will be your brain. So it starts getting tired. And once that happens, you put yourself in danger. Because you only got to miss one corner up here. And even myself, I can remember coming into corners thinking it's going to go right. And they go left and you're not ready for it. And it really puts the wind up you. So mental fitness is also really important, especially on the bigger bikes. Not that when you're learning you don't learn on a bigger bike, but start getting on these big girls and they're quite physical. Even though I've got to admit this is like a dream boat. Everyone gets on this, goes, oh, it doesn't feel as big as what it is, and they're right, but it'll still tire you out if you're working hard at it. Well, that was a bit of a dangerous place to do a U-turn, wasn't it? So back through Marysville.